I'm here with international wrestling superstar Kowboy Mike Hughes. How are you doing today?
Great.
You've traveled around the world. What stands out to you about Maritime wrestling that's different than everywhere else?
Right now?
Yes.
Right now, the business has changed completely. When I started Maritime Wrestling, we were wrestling 7 days a week. When I started with Grand Prix Wrestling, and then when we went to Real Action Wrestling, we were going 7 days a week, and people treated it as a job and as a business, and there was more put into it. You know, now it's become a weekend thing, or not even a weekend thing, a monthly thing, or a bi-monthly thing. So it's become more of a hobby for most people, and I find a lot of people don't take it seriously. There are a good crew. There's a crew of probably 10, 15 guys that do take it seriously, but I believe the product has been watered down lately because too many people are allowed into the business. Before, Maritime Wrestling was one of the places that was hard to get into here in Calgary, and you had to earn your spot, and now I feel like there's an open door policy and too many people are let in and out. On the other side is those 10 to 15 people that are really good in Maritimes are really good. Like, are guys that can wrestle anywhere. And the caliber has been polished up, and it's, you know, guys like Peter Smith that are giving guidance to these young guys. Like Peter's been around the world. Guys like myself have been giving input to the guys who want to learn and want to get better and that want to take it serious. It's really, those guys have really bitten into it, and the product's become really good. I'm really proud of Red Rock Wrestling. Not only the product, but everybody that's on our roster. Not only because they're good wrestlers, but because they're good people. And I think both go hand in hand. So Maritime Wrestling has its high points and its low points right now, but the high points are really good, but the low points are really low.
Your thoughts on the support that Maritime Wrestling and Red Rock Wrestling gets from its fans?
Red Rock Wrestling's been phenomenal. We get the best support from our sponsors, from our fans, from everybody in the province. It's been phenomenal, and it's been so good that it's piqued interest for people in other provinces. And people in other provinces, we have people now coming to Prince Edward Island just to come see our shows because we've given them such a high quality product. And that's from opening matches to the main events to the product itself, from the ring announcing to every bit of the presentation, our lighting, our music, everything has been phenomenal. And even like throughout the Maritimes, IHW is doing a great job right now. They've really stepped it up a notch, and they're doing more to get more involved in the community. And I think, I'm going to take credit for this, I think Red Rock Wrestling were the first people to get more involved in the community and interact more with charities and with the business community. And you know, I think IHW has followed our lead, and they're doing really well right now. Halifax is kind of lagging behind, but TCW is really making waves right now, where there's a lot of us that are working together to bring that better quality of wrestling to Halifax. And Cyril's done a great job of taking ideas that have worked in other places like IHW and Red Rock Wrestling, and he's used the tools that are working. And it takes a big man to be able to, instead of going with the way things were always done here, to changing for something new, and the things that have changed for the new have made this product better. TCW's last show was a testament of that, and I think tonight's going to be even better.
Thoughts on the type of work ethic a pro wrestler needs to have, training-wise, in the gym, and effort in getting booked other places?
I believe that it should be a part of your life. Like me, it's my passion. I've spent half my life in pro wrestling right now. So, you know, I've always worked out, there's always been a standard before, and you had to meet that standard just to get in the door. Unfortunately, that's gone now. But for me, and for anybody that works for me, you don't have to be a bodybuilder. I don't expect that. I'm not a bodybuilder, but I'm a big guy. And I'm a guy that when I walk into a room, people stop what they're doing, and they turn around and they take a look at me. They know that I'm not, you know, just an average guy. And, you know, I think that nutrition, training, if you want to put pro on the poster or pro on your Facebook page, then you have to look like a pro. You don't see fat UFC fighters. There's a couple. I don't want, you know, people watch this, oh, Roy Nelson and all this crap. But yeah, there's the exceptions. But in pro wrestling lately, this skinny, white, pasty fat that everybody's been walking in the door is not acceptable. And it's the result of that has been the attendance. And you'll see the areas where these people that put on these shows, the attendance is low now. And if it's good the first time, it gets lower each time. But in other places where we've held a standard, and the standard's been higher, like Red Rock Wrestling and even IHW, places like that, you know, you see the crowds growing. and maintaining. So I think that standard, by expecting those standards, it's good for the business, and for not expecting them, they die out quickly.
If you could put one match on a DVD to show somebody what you do, doesn't have to be Maritime Wrestling wise, what match would you choose?
That's a tough one. I've been very fortunate. I've had a lot of matches with some great wrestlers. I've been very fortunate. I had some matches in New Japan that I'm very proud of. I've had some matches in IWA. Puerto Rico was always my high point of my career with the huge crowds we used to get when you have a stadium with 20, 30,000 people in it. And the quality and the caliber of talent that we had in IWA in Puerto Rico. Myself and Ricky Banderas, myself and Apollo, myself and Shane Sewell, those were great. Tyson Dukes and myself in Newfoundland last year, we tore it up. I remember we were sitting in the back and we walked out and Diamond Dallas Page said, "Boys, that was unbelievable. Like, that was crazy. That was one of the best matches I've ever seen." So you get a guy of that caliber telling you things like that, it's something to be proud of. That's a tough question, though. I've been very fortunate. Like I said, I've got to work some greats like Robbie Brookside, some of the best wrestlers in this business, Savio Vega, like a lot of great wrestlers. So to put it to just one, that's a tough question. I don't think I can answer that.
Speaking of Robbie Brookside, your thoughts on him and Sarah Stock, who you toured with multiple times, now working in WWE as trainers?
There's not a better technician, not a better mind for the business, not a more passionate man for the wrestling business than Robbie Brookside. I learned more in a week with Robbie Brookside than I had learned in my previous 4 years before I met him. Robbie Brookside is a guy that knows how to explain things. He's a guy that has passion. He's a guy that has dedication, and he lives and breathes this business. And unless you've lived and breathed this business, somebody else that hasn't lived and breathed this business can't explain it to you. But somebody that has, and has that passion and has that knowledge can. And Robbie Brookside is that guy. He is the best teacher there is. And Sarah Stock, there's nobody who works harder than her in the female wrestling in the world ever. She's one of the most passionate, dedicated. She puts the time in the gym. There's nobody who trains harder in the gym than Sarah Stock. There's nobody who works harder in the ring. She's one of the most dedicated female, and she knows what it takes. She knows how to survive on the road. And she's been an international star now for years, so she can pass everything she's learned from Japan, Mexico, and all these places, TNA, all over the world, that she can pass those down to these people that don't get a chance to work in territories or don't get a chance to work internationally now. And those are tools that those two people have as teachers that there aren't anymore. There aren't territories anymore. There aren't, people don't live this business anymore. It's become a hobby for most people until they get there. But those two, you couldn't find two better people. And it's proof that you don't have to be in WWE to teach things. You know what I mean? And that's the great thing. That's what's great about Brookside and Sarah, that WWE has opened up their mind to say, there's people that we overlooked maybe in the past that can bring up and add something to our product that's been missing.
Your thoughts on the support that Maritime Wrestling fans give you individually?
Oh, it's been amazing. I'm so lucky with Prince Edward Island's amazing. Amazing. Like, I can't explain how supportive my province is to me. Halifax wrestling fans have been very supportive to me. New Brunswick, actually all over Canada. I just did a recent show in Timmins, Ontario, and the respect that the rest of the locker room and the respect that the fans up there that knew about me. I've never wrestled in Ontario before. Once, I think, before that in Oshawa. But the respect those fans had for me before the show, at the autograph table, during the match, even when I was working as a heel, and after the match, people that were coming up to me afterwards, and supporting me and giving me a pat on the back and saying, it was a privilege to be able to watch you wrestle tonight. Fans have been awesome to me everywhere as I've been. Puerto Rico, the fans were great to me everywhere. But Maritime fans have been phenomenal, and they've always supported me from day one.
What do you think 2016 holds for Maritime Wrestling, Kowboy Mike Hughes, and Red Rock Wrestling?
Red Rock Wrestling, things are expanding. We have some things in the mix right now, and if we just continue the momentum that we had last year, it's going to be a huge success. But we have some big announcements that will be coming up in the next 3 or 4 months. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag now, but we have some exciting new things that are going to be coming for Red Rock Wrestling. Kowboy Mike Hughes, I think you might see the old guy get back on the road again this year. I think, I've I've resigned from some positions in other companies like Legend City Wrestling, and it's time for me to mix things up. And I think you might see me go back on the road again. You might see a tour overseas again. You might see me back down on the Rock in Puerto Rico for short periods of time again. You know, I've had some talks with people, and you know, things are looking good. And that gets back to the fans too. Like, the fans are asking for me to return to these places, so it feels good when you have fans asking for you to come back to these areas. So there's going to be a lot of things coming up for Kowboy Mike Hughes, I think. I just have to pick which ones are the best for me and my family and for Kowboy Mike Hughes at my age right now. So,
In closing, is there anything you'd like to say to the fans of Kowboy Mike Hughes?
thanks for always supporting me. Like I said, my fans all over the world have been phenomenal. I've had great fans in Newfoundland that have supported me. PEI, I can't stress enough how important the fans of PEI have been to me. Amazing. All through Maritime Wrestling, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and all over the world. Puerto Rico, I still get messages. I get so many messages from my fans in Puerto Rico, and the fans in Newfoundland, and fans in England. It's been great. And without the fans, there is no Kowboy Mike Hughes. So, you know, I've got to travel around the world. I've got paid to do it, and I've got to see some amazing things in the last 16 years. So that's been fantastic.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.